everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Music's Rising Stars. I'm your host, Lisa Miller, and I'm really excited to introduce to you Sonia Sturino and Annie Hoffman, and they're rising stars in the band Weekend Friends. And they're here to join us today to talk about their new music and talk about their musical journey. So here we go. We have Sonia and we have Annie with us. Thanks for joining me on today's podcast.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
You really bring it 100% in everything you do. It's a great blend. Your music is, would you describe it as rock and roll and a little bit of alternative?
Yeah, I think it's like alternative rock, like indie alternative rock.
A little bit of grunge.
A little bit of grunge in there. Yeah, like lots of guitars. But then at the same time, I feel like vocally, it's like a little bit poppy. Like I've always loved pop music, and I like a really good catchy melody. So I feel like that filters in there as well.
Pop melodies delivered
over top of like loud guitar rock.
Yeah, and emotionally delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, one of the things too that stands out in my mind is when I watched your YouTube videos with you performing, and I mean, you guys just let loose on stage. I don't know. I can't keep up with the energy level, and the endurance that you have throughout your shows is unbelievable.
It's a lot of cardio.
Yeah, Annie definitely sends it the most. I feel like you do like a million little steps. Like I have to sing, so I'm like a little bit like tethered to my station. And then sometimes I'll like look over and like you're never in the same place.
It's hard to stand still. There's so much. There's so much energy coming off the audience to begin with. It would feel weird to just stand still.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a very symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
It's like it's high. The music's high energy. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, when I see you perform in YouTube videos and others that I've watched, performers, how do you come down from that energy level and then it ends? And then are you exhausted or?
Yeah. I mean, I have to usually go sell our merch right after because we're like a small enough band that we don't have a merch person. So that's how I come down is by going and doing another job and then driving and then and then also we all let's pack up our own gear and we're at that level. So it's you naturally you still have a million other jobs to do. So by the time it's all done, some people are oh, do you go party after and this and that? I'm I get to the hotel room and I fall into the deepest sleep of all time. I love to sleep. I'm the antithesis of what people I would say consider rock star energy. It's everything I do on stage is that I love chatting with people at merch and hanging out at the show. But when we are done, I am in my pajamas and I'm going to bed. I have I'm tired.
I'm usually the same way, but every once in a while there is a big enough show. If the crowd is just absolutely electric or huge and electric, I will have trouble sleeping for a couple days sometimes.
You get amped
up.
It'll just be replaying in my head, and I can feel the adrenaline start again.
Yeah,
I have to will myself not to think about it.
Not me. I'm like a cat. I'm just I'm ready to sleep no matter what, anywhere, anyhow.
Yeah, when we opened for Jack White a couple of months ago, and I was wired for 4 days.
That was a really fun show.
Oh my gosh. And when you look back over your careers in different bands and then together, did you ever imagine that you would be where you're at today? You have a huge fan base. Again, you're touring and traveling all over. This is your third album that you're released, Feels Like Hell. And did you ever imagine all this success?
I mean, yes, kind of, because I think when you get into it, especially for me as a kid, I was this is what I want to do. And it's funny because it's very nice to see it as it is a successful spot to be in. We get to actually tour and put out records on a label and talk to great people like you and do all this really fun stuff. And we do have people who love our music, but I've always thought of music, or like how I've been thinking about it lately, is like, do you know like escape rooms? I feel like it's like success is like an escape room. You get into like one, and then it's like as soon as you get out of it, there's another, you just like enter another escape room.
A bigger, nicer escape room.
Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like you're always sort of chasing the next step. I mean, like ultimately, like the more people your music can connect with and touch, that's like the best feeling and the goal. But I guess from a level of just like artistry, like I feel very happy to be at a point where like I get to write songs, and those songs like have allowed me to like meet so many amazing people and go to so many amazing places. And like, I guess I you can never predict it in any one way or another. But what I'm trying to say is like, I'm very comfortable with where we're at, and I'm very comfortable with the idea of keeping on doing it. So I think from when I was little, I always did kind of imagine being in a band and doing the thing.
Yeah, if I could check in with my child self and let them know that, oh, you've been on tour in Europe 4 times.
Yeah,
I think she'd freak out. She'd be like, oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Even though it's hard when you're like in it, you're like, you are kind of jaded. Not jaded. But
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
You're always trying to further things.
Right. You're like, well, there's bands that are bigger than us, and so like we should be bigger. We should do bigger things. And like, so you kind of do that whole like envious thing, or you'll do the like, it's so like hard to be on tour. I'm so tired. I just want to go home. Like, but at the end of the day, like you do realize like this is like pretty awesome that we get to do this. And yeah, so.
Yeah, well said. And I think too, the first thing that came to my mind when I was looking back at some of my first podcasts and not realizing, I thought, you know, singers, oh, they had a fun life. It was entertaining. I was so wrong initially, because you are such hard working professionals. Anyone who thinks that it's not a job, I mean, you have to have a strong work ethic, and you ladies certainly do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely not for the
faint of heart.
Faint of heart, I think, especially at the level we're at, or like to even just grow to any level and being a band, like those first few years, or like it's a grind, and like touring can be amazing, but also like really hard, and like
long days,
and it's like vulnerable too. Like even just writing music, it's like it's such a vulnerable thing to do, and then to be like, all right, world, what do you think? And you know, it could be just like mentally really stressful and rough, but I don't really know what else to do with my life, and this is what I've been doing, and this is what I love doing, so keep doing it.
And you do it well. And the recording label Don Giovanni, it's a strong record label. I mean, that has had to have some impact too in guiding you through, you know, any challenges or helping. What changed when you signed on to a record label?
Yeah, so Joe's been really just who runs the record label. He's just been a fan from the start. I like have a memory of him coming to see us in Detroit, and there was like no one there. I think he was like one of like 3 people who came to the show. Yeah. Like one of probably our least attended shows of all time. And he still like saw something in us and like wanted to work with us, which was really awesome. And I mean, with Don Giovanni Records, it's interesting because they are like the most indie of indie labels. Like they're definitely like it's a DIY operation, very independent. And, you know, throughout our career, people might be like, oh, why didn't you try to go to like a major label or try to go to like a bigger label? And, you know, and that's something you like think about as you grow as an artist. But I've always felt like Joe's just like really on our team, and he's really accessible. And so you really just do get like a little bit more attention to what you're doing when you're working with a label like that. And it's been like a good fit for us and like where we're at and like where we've been and how we've grown.
Yeah, I mean, they distribute our. It's really cool to roll into a record store in some other city and see our record there.
Yeah, it's like
that was definitely not happening before we signed to a label. No. And or even having vinyl like different color vinyl. It's been a great support system. Yes.
Well, congratulations on that. I want to switch gears and talk about your latest new single, Nosebleed. And I want to talk about the story behind that song. Tell us.
Yeah, so with that song, I remember being on tour and we were like hanging out with a few friends, and one of them was just kind of going on about how, you know, they're really over their ex and like it's fine, like they don't really like, they're like, you know, it's water under the bridge, like they've moved on, but then like explaining in detail like their new persona on social media,
Their
and
ex's
new persona, being like, yeah, like they do this thing on TikTok and it's like this whole thing that they do, and they're like talking about it in detail. And I thought it was like funny to be like, I'm so over it, but I'm like, but you're actively like studying and investigating their TikTok. And I feel like it's one of those songs that like embodies like there's no linear path to like heartbreak and then to like rebuilding your heart. I think everybody kind of goes through that journey differently, and there's going to be different like breakups or like heartbreaks throughout your life that like leave you in a really low place. And you know, there's no easy switch to be like, and now I'm fine. Or like, you know, even with relationships, it's like it's hard to just move on and be like, and now that person's out of my life and I've completely forgot them. And like, maybe that's not what needs to happen. Like sometimes it's okay to like have something burn out slowly, or sometimes it's okay to have, you know, that person come back in your life in a big way, or, you know, to be, you know, feeling better in stages or whatever. So I kind of wanted to like write this song that like emphasize that feeling of like you're over it, but you're not quite over it, and that's okay. Even if it's like a little bit of a tortured place to be. And that's where that song kind of came to be.
Well, I love it. And I want to share that song snippet right now. We're going to play Nosebleed by Weekend Friends. And when we come back, we'll talk more music.
When the heat it got too much, we could cool each other down. Slip your elbow, hit my face. I got a nosebleed on your couch. Now I'm staring at that stain, 'cause some things don't wash out, and nobody's to blame. It's just that some things don't work out. Tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me I'm still a baby. Tell me how you doing lately. Tell me.
That's what I'm talking about, ladies. That's awesome. Great song and sound. Congratulations.
Thank
you.
so much.
So I want to talk about the official music video for Nosebleed. And it was awesome. I loved every minute of it. And here's why. It was so detailed, not only just the setting of it, the characters that are in that small room, each of you playing that role, the storyline that's kind of embedded along with your great song. I think that's an award-winning video. And I want to talk about, it was awesome. I encourage everybody to check that out. Weekend Friends video, Nosebleed. You're going to love it. It's entertaining. And who came up with that creative thought and idea?
Yeah, I initially had this like vision of that. When we were arranging the way back, when we were like arranging and putting that song together, we had like a rehearsal, and then that night the three of us like sat and we watched that movie Love Lies Bleeding. It's like with Kristen Stewart, came out like last year, and it's kind of just this story of like a bodybuilder and like gym rat, and like they kind of fall in love, but it's also like there's a lot of like crime and violence and craziness.
But the aesthetic of
that
is really eye-catching.
Yeah, it's like
It is.
so perfect. And I guess my brain made a loose association between that song and that movie, because then months later we were like in the van and we were starting to talk about like the record and like visuals for the record and the music videos, and I just started spitballing like, what if we did like this like sweaty like workout gym type video for Nosebleed? And I was initially playing with this idea like of it being a little more campy and like a little more silly and kind of
a
comedy. Yeah. And like we show up to the gym and we're like wimpy, and then there's like a trainer and it, like they train us up to be like all like strong, and like that was like my initial like idea, which was kind of silly. But then
we brought it to Tayden.
Yeah, so Tayden, who the director, Tayden Brago, yes. Sorry, I'm like bad at last names all the time. So Tayden, and I was like, yeah, I have this idea for a video, and they had done our video for Awkward and some work with us for Everything is Better and Quitter, some other songs we put out. And they were kind of like, well, I like it. Can I like sit with it? I really want to do this in like a big production way. Like all of our other videos were kind of more DIY. And they were like, I want to bring on a team. I want to like really build it. Do you mind me taking like directorial reins here? And I was like, yeah, go for it. And that's who really plugged in more of like the love story between Annie and I, and like the visual of it being a little darker, and kind of refined it to be the storyline that ended up being in the video, which I think is like plays off like much better than like maybe what I was envisioning. And they crushed it. Like, I mean, that whole team was so awesome that like, for us, that was the first music video we had like a real budget for, and like could really like bring in a proper like film crew to make and put together. And it was so fun.
Two very long days.
Yeah, 2 like 12-hour days for a 3-minute video.
Video.
Yeah,
but it was so much fun. Wow.
Oh yeah, and the characters, like the lady on the bike, you know, and just where did you? Are they extras? Or are they friends?
They're extras. Yeah, they're extras. Well, the hunky guy is our friend.
Yeah.
Justin. Okay. We flew him up for that because he just has the look. He needed to be in the video.
Yeah, I think my initial, when I was coming up with the initial idea, I was like, we need to have Justin in it. And that was like one of the first ideas. So yeah, Justin's our buddy, but the rest of them are all just like extras. Yeah.
Well, everybody check that video out and you're going to know exactly what we're talking about because it's awesome. So let's talk about your album. It has been highly anticipated by your fans, and it just is coming out, Feels Like Hell. And how many tracks are on it? Give us the whole lowdown and rundown of this highly anticipated album.
How many tracks are on it? 11?
I think it is 11. Yeah. When you asked that at my stomach drop, I was like, I don't even know.
Because there's like interludes that are like tracks. Yeah, I think it's 11.
It's 11 or 12.
I should know. But anyway, we're very excited about it. It Feels Like Hell, out October 10th. It's our third record. So I think with the third record, you kind of like really find yourself as a band, and you kind of like fall into the flow of like what works. I mean, your first record is always like the exciting one, like the like first attempt. So you're like maybe just like kind of green, and you're going in and you're making a record. And then I feel like the second energy. Yeah, there's like a good energy. Where like the second record for us, like at least like it felt like kind of like a little bit of speed bump. Like we were trying to like figure out what was going on. We had just like brought in Adam as our new drummer, but with this one we were just like we were like ready for it, and like we took the time we needed between album cycles to really like recoup and get to a headspace where we felt like comfortable really digging in writing. Like Annie and I were writing a lot of these songs together, which was new. Initially it was like always me who would write them, and then we'd arrange as a band, but you were on the writing floor for it. And I think it's just a really strong record for that. Like it's in my, I know it's hard to not call it my favorite, because I know with artists, it's like my newest record, it's always your favorite. But I think it's our best record yet.
I think so too. And to touch on your, not just because it's the newest one, like every time we've released something, I've had a thread of apprehension in myself. Like, oh, I hope people like it. Like, what if they don't like it? We just put in all this work. But this one I am so thoroughly proud of.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't matter if no one likes it, but I think they will.
Actually, that's kind of true. It's like, I feel like it kind of doesn't matter if no one likes it, because for me, I like it so much, and I feel like it's the record I had to make.
We set out to make this record exactly as it is. It became what it wanted to be.
That's it.
And yes.
Well, everyone listening, you have to check out Weekend Friends' new album, Feels Like Hell, on all streaming platforms, and check them out on social media and their website. I want to take this time to kick off snippet number 2, another great song, and it was a collaboration with Buckethead, and the song is called MNPC featuring Buckethead, and I want to play it now, and when we come back, let's talk more about it.
You'll talk time first thing in the morning. Why is everything I see so annoying? Every time I open up my eyes, I'm in a constant state of overwhelmed and bored. I can't relate, I just ignore that sneaking sense. I'm really somewhere else. Like maybe I'm sorry dead, or I'm living in a simulation. But honestly, it makes me depressed that this was the best thing someone could invent. Waste away.
Another great song. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about that. How did that become a collaboration with Buckethead?
Yes, I work at the venue here in Portland, the State Theater, and he had a show at the State Theater, and I was managing that night, and yeah, he just started talking to me, which was I found strange because he's usually very like
Notoriously private.
yeah, very private person, wears a mask and like a hat on his head to kind of disguise himself. But anyway, he started chatting with me, super nice guy. Was asking me about like record stores and comic book stores, I think, and like places to go, bookstores just to go in
Kindle.
Portland. Yeah, just like things to do in Portland when we started talking about Portland in general. And yeah, we just started kind of being friends and sending each other like music and demos and just like talking about music or like movie recommendations and book recs and that kind of thing. And when we started recording and putting together MPC, I wanted this kind of like blistering guitar solo that sounded less like a guitar and more like the world of this NPC that they're living in this simulation, like glitching and coming apart, like kind of just the fabric of the reality, like splitting and splintering, like a computer exploding. And I can't play guitar like that to my best ability. And I was like, I think I know the perfect guy for this. And I was like, do you want to play on our song? And he was like, yeah, of course. And like was super excited to be part of it and came up with the most like ridiculous but amazing solo that fits the song perfectly. And so that's how that happened.
Well, that was great that you were able to coordinate that, and it's a hit. And I want to tell you, ladies, I can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the future. And I'd love to have you back on the show to talk about all your exciting events that you're doing and state performances, and really appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thanks for
yeah.
having us, and we'll come back anytime.
Anytime.
Oh yeah, you are rising stars, that's for sure. Weekend friends, and they're friends of music's rising stars, and we'll talk again soon. And ladies, like I always say at the end of my podcast, that's a wrap.